Now we're into our video 2 where we're going to add that particle poof, which is actually a collision particle. It's something that we want to happen based upon the collision of the object that we're going to associate it with. So pretty simple, you've done this before. You're going to create an empty object, create empty. Let's go ahead and leave that in the view here because we're going to make it a prefab. If not, we would have reset that to the 0 parameters. So we're going to name this object, and you can name your object whatever your particular collision particle is. I'm naming this explode, and then I add the effect. Add component, effect, and particle. And as always, the particles already start moving and grooving, and you can start changing all the associations and the colors and all that good stuff as the particle is happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and you can create your particle, and once you've done that and saved your scene, come on back. Okay, how's yours going? What I did here was created a little kind of a boom, as you could say. It's in a box, and I kept it pretty close. The duration is pretty low, the start speed, and I gave it some colors, a color over lifespan, things like that. So now we need to make this a prefab. Very simple. You remember how to do it, right? I'm just going to click on the object and drag it. I think I'll do it from the hierarchy. Drag the explode to the prefab folder. That brings our list in the hierarchy into a blue, which means prefab. So I can delete it from the scene. Boom, delete. So now what we're going to do is something called call the prefab with an instantiate. We're going to instantiate that particular object in our game after we've created the prefab. So what we need to do is find our player script, and you could find it from the attached object, or you could go into your scripts folder and open up that particular script. In our player script, the first thing we need to do is add our variable. Our variable, as you know, is something that we can call upon in the game. So it states that what we're going to do is find the win count text, and underneath this we're going to add our variable, which will be called upon because it's public. This is where we're going to add our prefab component in the inspector window. So then we have to call upon it and come down to the line which states other.gameObject set active false. You remember when you did this? That's when we picked up the object. The object is alive. Once we collide and pick it up, the object turns false. We don't kill it or destroy it because that may destroy all the other objects of the same name and feature. So we're going to add our script here to this particular area, and what's happening here is, and it states right here with the comments, you can learn that this is the best way to learn scripting, is to read someone's script that has comments. So what we're doing is we're set the explosion, we're setting it up. So we're calling the object, which is the game object, which means, you know, hello. We're saying, come come on in, come on in. So we're going to set that prefab, and we're going to set it to the same transform position and rotation as our object. And then we are going to destroy the particle, that instantiated object, 5 seconds after it happens. So let's go ahead and save the script. You can go File, Save As, or use your shortcut key command Control S or Command S on a Mac, and come back into our game and find our third-person controller. And in the third-person controller, we now, under the player script, have this explode prefab. Right now, nothing is there. You can add it several ways. One, select the radial and find your explode. Right here it is. Double-click. Boom, there it is. Or we could have found our explode and dragged and dropped it on here. So let's see how this looks. We're going to first save our scene. It's always save, trust me. Anytime you do something, save the scene and the project, trust me. Well, we're going to select our run and just see what happens now based upon our new boom. Now it exploded, and will it quit in 5 seconds? Boom, and it stops in 5 seconds. So if our player continued to play the game and find all the pickups, anytime they picked up, there would be an explosion, and then the explosion would cease after 5 seconds. Wonderful.